Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. That was Kurt calling just as we started. Chief Business Officer. Welcome everybody to today's Vengreso Live. I'm super excited because I have my dear friend and also like the most amazing sales trainer ever, Miss Shari Levitin, with me today. I'm going to read, I'm going to read the bio here, but what I want you to know about her is she is like the most generous person I've ever met. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met. She's incredibly engaging, and she was into this remote and virtual selling thing, way before COVID hit. So you're going to learn a lot from her today. So anyway, Shari Levitin is a global sales leader, and she's the CEO of the Shari Levitin Group, about how virtual selling and how sellers can adapt to a virtual environment, which we're all doing, well or not, but we're all doing it. As the Levitin Group founder, Shari has helped over $1 billion in increased revenue, $1 billion with increased revenue for companies in over 40 companies, teaching her authentic, heartfelt approach. She's the best-selling author of Heart and Sell, 10 Universal Truths Every Salesperson Needs to Know. She contributes to Forbes, CEO, Huffington Post, and she's been recognized as one of the top 50 keynote speakers in 2020 by Top Sales World, top 20 sales expert in the Salesforce documentary film, The Story of Sales, top 10 voices in sales on LinkedIn, and our top 30 authors' books to read. So, man, you're super impressive, girl.
Wow, Viveka, thank you. It's so good to be here. And I'm looking at the chat and we've got friends from India. That's super exciting, right? Like all over the world. Viveka, you are global. You are global.
You are global. We are global.
I love it. I love it. So what should we talk about today, Viv?
Yeah. So let's talk about, I know I'm just like looking at all the people. Hey, Kent, don't know how you're here, but hey, we got Kent in the call. Yeah. So let's talk about what you do. Now, first of all, were you psychic? Did you predict that there was going to be a massive pandemic in 2020 and that everyone should get up in virtual and remote selling? Or was that just some lucky happenstance?
Well, no, I was selling virtually for many, many years because I became a mother late in life. And I had been traveling literally 250, 300 days a year. And I just said, whoa, I got to figure out how to, do this thing virtually, how to get content online, how to, interact with my clients. Of course, the Zoom applications and the meetings applications are much more robust now than when I started, but it was actually out of necessity, not intelligence. So
I love it. I know we're going to get into that story a little bit later, but let's just, I know one of the things, so billions and billions of revenue, and you yourself get like almost 10% of your revenue from just inbound leads alone. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Actually, it's 70%. So you need
70.
to.
I was like, 7% isn't very high.
No,
all right, let me go ahead and high that and adjust that number.
Well, okay. So, and I'm not fluffing your feathers here, but I owe this to Vengreso. So I don't know if you have heard this story, but I like to hike every morning. It gets me going. I live in Park City, Utah. And one day I was hiking up a mountain and all I did was listen to Mario Martinez on podcasts because I thought, wow, he's brilliant. I had really been in one vertical for about 20 years. Yeah. And so I wanted to learn about these different verticals and what was going on. It's about 5 years ago. And I'm listening to Mario and he's just blowing my mind. And I think this is the most brilliant guy in the whole world. Yeah. And I'm like coming up this hill and I think I'm going to call Mario on the phone. I know he's the social selling expert. Maybe he'll answer the telephone. Yeah. So I'm like hiking up this mountain. I pick up my phone. He answers. He is so engaging. I am so excited to be talking to him. I don't realize 15 minutes later, there is a moose on the trail, like with her calf. So I don't know if anybody knows anything about moose, but they are dangerous. They're more dangerous than bear. They will kill you. So I've always told Mario, you are so engaging. Like not even a moose can stop you. So I built a relationship with Mario. We became good friends. We became colleagues, and he introduced me to Vengreso's LinkedIn training.
Yeah.
And my world shifted completely, because I always thought LinkedIn was like some stuffy Facebook, right? Like, ew, why would I do that? You know, it's just like stuffy. But I didn't realize the ability to prospect, the ability to put out thought leadership, the ability to meet people and connect with people that by the time I see them live, I like think I know them. You know?
Exactly.
But it was learning all the distinctions from Mario and from you and from everybody at Vengreso that rocked my world, such that, yeah, now we operate based on incoming leads from LinkedIn. So it's been exciting.
I love it. I love it. So, yeah, we'll share that link later. If you guys are interested, let us know in the training that Shari took with us. And you know, in full disclosure, Shari sits on our board now. So you believe in Vengreso, which I love.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Tell us a little bit, like, what are some of the activities that you do? So we know that 70% of, now it's 70%. That's the right number. I mean, when I first saw that, I'm like, 7%, that's not really good, but okay, if she's proud of that. 70%, that's better. So tell us some of the actual activities. Like, what are some of the strategies, or what features do you use? What shifted for you?
When COVID happened, you mean?
No, well, yes, when COVID happened, and also with the selling with Sales Navigator, selling with LinkedIn tool.
Well, you know, really, that was an opportunity to not have to be constantly cold calling and perhaps wasting time on people that you really don't have an affinity with. Look, not everybody likes everybody's, you know, not everybody resonates with everybody, and there's got to be. When you're hiring a training company, you've got to believe in the principles and the philosophies of that person. And so by putting out content, if people are coming to you, you're resonating with them. So you've gone through that hurdle. So we put out, for those of you, we are on LinkedIn. We do put out 3 videos free of charge every single week. If you follow us, just, and I think that's the key. We never, there's not an ask. In fact, for 2 or 3 years, we just put out content and videos. And then, you know, people come to us that are our people, that belong in our tribe, that believe in our message. And our message at the end of the day is that, yes, you need to have heart and authenticity. You need to replace the hard sell with the heart sell, but you still need to roll up your sleeves and get the deal. So how do you balance the two? What we talk about is, look, yes, AI is here, technology is here, but the sales leaders and sales reps of tomorrow, in order to get ahead and differentiate, we have to do everything Alexa can't do.
That's right.
Things that Alexa can never do. And that's what we teach. We teach things that are irreplaceable. Yeah.
100%. So make sure that you're now, do you share that both on your company page and your personal profile?
We actually, since you're giving me a great lead in here, have a big event. We have a big event on Tuesday called Rehumanize Live. So this is a keynote that we had been doing for many, many years, where we would just come in for companies or do big kickoffs. And for the first time ever, we're making it available for individuals. But it's not a Zoom call. It's from our studio. So it's a triple camera shoot. We've got Zoom rooms. You're interacting with other big leaders. It's going to be a ball. And I am going to give away, free of charge, a ticket. It's a $495 ticket here at this event, if that's okay with you.
Gee, okay. That would be awesome. So guys, not $4.95 or 97 cents. It's $497 ticket to Shari's event. Now, when is it? Friday?
It's Tuesday. We're going to be in the Las Vegas studios, and it's 1 to 3:30 Pacific time. So that would be 4 if you're East Coast time. I see some of you are in the Netherlands. You would be getting up in the middle of the night. But hey, Vegas is an all-night city. So, you know, you're going to be streaming in from, we're going to stream in from Vegas. So yeah. And if you, here's the deal. If you email me at Shari@sharilevitin.com, what I'm going to do is I will pick a winner by noon Mountain Time today, which is in 3 hours. And whoever gives me a quote that is the most touching or the most poignant, I'm going to choose you to get that ticket. So write me your favorite quote, either one you wrote or one that really resonates with you. And we will be picking that quote to get a free ticket to the event.
Awesome. So everyone, I just pulled up the event so you can see it. November 17th from 1 to 3:30 PST. Email Shari with your best quote, and then she's going to pick a winner and you'll be able to access it for free. Everybody else, we'll pop the link into chat if you want to attend it. You can pay for it, but one lucky person is actually going to get it free. So that is awesome. All right. So I know that you, amongst like all the training that you do, the books that you read, the one-on-ones that you do, the one-on-manys that you do, the huge corporate clients that you work with, you also just made your brilliance more accessible because you just shot a LinkedIn Live course, I believe. So tell us about that. Tell us when it releases so we can all keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, and I think more importantly, before I tell you about the course, I want to tell you about some of the meat in the course so that everybody watching can put some things to use right away. You know, first of all, let me give you some statistics that are pretty fascinating to me. I believe this was Gartner that came out with this. 90% of all sales conversations today are occurring virtually. Yeah. Okay, no surprise. We've got lockdown orders, right? We're all
exactly.
So that's not a surprise. Here's what might be a surprise. 86% of all millennials say they would take a pay cut to work from home.
Wow.
And sales leaders predict 50% of all sales conversations will still happen virtually after the pandemic.
I'm going to one-up you on that. A McKinsey report just came out, and for B2B, it says 80% of B2B buyers prefer to buy remote. They do not want to go back to the old way. 80% of B2B buyers.
And I guess then that brings up, why do we think that is? I've got my feeling. Right. Let me flip the tables and ask you, Viv, why do you think buyers would prefer it?
You know, I think it's easier. You're at home. You're getting all the information at your fingertips. You're not having to travel to trade shows. You're not having to travel to, you're not having to travel to conferences as much. And quite frankly, you're not having to be sold to. As a B2B seller, we have to work harder, right? We have to work harder, position ourselves as trusted advisors. So we're not selling, right? We are.
I know selly.
I know. And I hate selly. And no one likes selly. And I think what B2B buyers are beginning to appreciate is those sellers who are making the effort to gain the trust, to gain the credibility with their buyers. The seller, the buyers are appreciating that. And not only that, as the buyers do their research, the sellers who are making the effort are the ones showing up.
Yeah, well, there's no question about that. And I would also add to that unless you're a good B2B seller, one of the reasons they might prefer it is if they're bored, they turn that damn camera off and pay their taxes and shampoo the dog.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So I mean, and this is happening. Statistics also show. And as you say, Viv, we've got to up our game. It's harder. I'm not going to lie to you. It's harder. Now, the good news is once we get good at it, right, we can get to more people. It's like the inside sales revolution, right? So if you're an outside sales exec and maybe in your territory, you could visit 3 people. Now you might be able to talk to 9 or 10 people in a day, do a better job of qualifying. But as you said, there's some distinctions that are critical. And I would love for our viewers to highlight a couple of these. Number one, you are not doing your homework on LinkedIn, finding out everything about that buyer and being relevant. They will turn you out. They will turn off their camera or hang up because it's much easier to do so. So that homework component. And let me also just say, we strongly recommend what we call a pre-call plan. It's much more important that what you don't have selling online, virtually, and I'm gonna just highlight 4 differences. There's differences of trust, time, access, and engagement.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with trust. How do we build trust? Well, when we see each other, we can see all of the movements. We can see the body language. But here's one that a lot of people don't know. Viv, when you and I first met, I believe it was at a conference in San Francisco, and I loved you right away, and Mario and Bernie and everybody else, and I met your team. When you're meeting live and you start to build trust, we actually release a hormone called oxytocin.
Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, it's the good stuff. Right. Not oxy. What's that?
No, not that. That's the bad stuff.
Yeah, not that one. But actually, it has a similar effect.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually floods you. It's the same hormone that's released when a mother is nursing, when people fall in love, and it actually, research has shown that it causes people to spend more money. Okay, so yeah, so it's. But that only happens when we're in person. It only happens live. So right now we can't smell each other. So it's harder to build trust, right?
Good point.
Yeah. So what do you do to build trust across the digital divide? And we talk a lot about that in the LinkedIn course, but one of the key ways is what we call virtual presence. And you're a master at that. What's your lighting look like? Is your face in the right place? Do you look good from the top up? Because goodness knows I'm in my Lululemons down here, but we've got this top up. Sorry. What are you wearing? Let me see. What are you wearing?
Oh, I'm wearing my jeans.
Show me your pants.
I actually got into my skinny jeans today, so I'm wearing them.
Good girl.
I know.
Nice. So yeah, trust is more difficult. You've got to, one of the keys to trust online is knowing your tech, communicating ahead of time. Hey, this is not a webinar. We're going to ask you to turn on your camera. These things become very, very important. Doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Being reliable. All of these things are critical. And then, the other big shift is that of time.
Yeah.
People don't think about this. If I'm meeting with a client down in Salt Lake and I say, I'll stop in at 1:00, that 1:00, 10-minute meeting, when we build trust, can turn into an hour, lunch with the CEO and all the stakeholders, and the signing of a contract in 3 hours.
Yeah.
We don't get this serendipity on a virtual call.
That's right.
We're booked into 30-minute, 60-minute segments. So what ends up happening is and then there's the expand contract thing that goes on. So you've booked an hour, the person gets on the phone and says, I only have 15 minutes, give me your deal.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
A lot of differences.
Yeah, absolutely. So there were, and let me pull them back up again. So we have trust, time, access, and engagement. So that covers all of those things and how they are different. And that is really interesting about the oxytocin and not actually getting that face to face. So it's those people who are remote selling, virtual selling, they have to make more of an effort, and that another thing, and maybe it is the oxytocin, but there are some people in real life, their charisma just literally takes over the room. Like it's like they walk into the room and the light is shining on them. That doesn't naturally cross over to video all the time, I think.
Well, and that can backfire. And I'll tell you an embarrassing story. One of the things we have to do, particularly on video sales calls, is you want to have that charisma, but I will say you want to bring your voice down. No, seriously, because there's a tendency for sellers when we get excited that we think we're on a big stage.
Right. True.
And you can underdo it or you can overdo it.
That's true.
And if you overdo it, it's bad too. I remember, this was about 6 years ago. We were at dinner and my then 9-year-old son, I took a call at dinner, which I know is bad, but I took a client call at dinner, and he says to me, I hang up, and he says, oh, he's in like 9. He says, was that a client? I said, yeah, how'd you know? He goes, oh, because you used pitch voice.
9 years old. Okay, he's pretty smart though. We got
right. So then he says, yeah, it's the same voice that you use sometimes on videos. And when you do those types of videos, I just turn it off. I bet your clients do too. I'm like, but I had to realize that really that the authenticity of video, and somebody asked here, is it good if the dog runs by? Of course it is. Kids screaming, dogs for garbage.
My dog.
It's like relatable, right? This is
exactly. The dog, the kid, the 94-year-old. I was doing a live the other day, and my God bless him, my 94-year-old father walked in his pajamas, and he had made breakfast, which was horrible, but he'd made breakfast, and he like gave me my breakfast, and I'm like,
so good.
Okay, I'm live right now. And then my guest's daughter brought her breakfast. So, it was like breakfast on Vengreso Live. But it's human and it's relatable.
It is. And I will say something else. And this is something we've learned this year that we hadn't mastered yet, but I want to give a really useful tip. Here's some statistics you may have heard, but perhaps not in this context. And that is, according to adult learning theory, so how do people learn? How do people retain information? People retain 10% of what they hear.
Yeah.
50% of what they see and hear. That's why video is so critical. But here's where the rubber meets the road. 90% of what they say and do. So involvement and interactivity is key to a great Zoom virtual sales call. And a lot of people don't think of, how can I make this interactive? I'll tell you a great way is chat. And so one of the things that you can look at doing, if you've got an assistant or somebody else on your team, as you're talking about key points of your offering, have them write them in the chat. Because if you're on Zoom technology and you're showing a PowerPoint, you get little. So you become less engaging. But if you can stay big and then put salient points in the chat, but then you can have them answer discovery questions back in the chat. So an example, we were working with a big private school in California, and now they're doing their virtual sales and saying, my biggest concern leading the public school system is, and they're having their clients write in their concerns in the chat. They've got 3 stakeholders, mother, father, kid. And what a great way to do discovery, and B2B, same thing. My biggest challenge about initiating this software in Q1 is let's get it out. But if you get them doing and physically, tactily engaged, they're more engaged. It's going to be more memorable. That's
100%
that shifts.
It also allows the seller to focus on what they're doing. I mean, if they're constantly keeping an eye, if you're the seller and you're constantly keeping an eye on chat, which I'm doing right now, but also, and then trying to talk, and then you see something really salient in chat, but you're trying to make a point and you can totally get, off track. And that's what we've got Andre actually managing the chat and responding to a lot of you right now. Thank you, Andre. But I love that. So I knew about that in training and lives, but I never thought about that in selling. That's such a great tip. You've got to have a moderator.
No question. If you can, look, but it's not brain science, right? You're just having somebody monitor the chat. There's also, there's a site, I can't remember the URL right now. It's easy to find, but you can get emojis instantly, like Emojipedia or something. And again, people love the emojis in the chat. So your moderator can, like the fist or the heart or the money falling out of everywhere.
Control Command Space. If you're on a if you're on a Mac, Control Command Space will pull up the emoji keyboard, and I think it's just like a left click emoji keyboard on your PCs. But or just pull it up, like Shari said, from the website. So that's but that is something because it's different and people aren't expecting it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you were talking about you know, salespeople need to talk less, listen more. Now I have Hamilton going through my head, but talk less, listen more. Anyway, so I think you had a course like that in LinkedIn Learning, but it's taken a pivot, hasn't it?
Yeah. So originally we were going to do that course, and then COVID happened. So we pivoted to the virtual sales course, which I believe is going to be out in December. And then we're also doing those as master classes for companies, over a 4-week period. So teams that really need to make the pivot to virtual sales are having us come in, and we do 5 90-minute sessions. And the advantage there is that they're doing homework in between, they're reporting back. Again, a lot of companies out there, we talk to so many companies that are just trying to do the exact same thing they did live online, and it doesn't work that way.
That's 100% right. So let's talk about that a little bit. So, and the question, the official question is this the official question? No, this is the official question. How do you pivot to virtual events? Like, what's the secret ingredient? It's not just the same. You can't just go, oh, we were going to do it this way live. Now we're going to do the exact same thing just on Zoom. So how do you pivot to a virtual event so that it's powerful for your audience?
How do we, when we're doing an event, or how does it work? David Merriman Scott wrote about this. He's a wonderful speaker. I know you know David, and he said it best. So I'm not going to try to make up something better. He said that think of a virtual event like a TV show, and think of a live event like a Broadway play. So when you're doing a live event like a keynote, as a keynote speaker, really it's just you for 45 minutes or an hour. So it's got to be funny. There's got to be takeaways. It's got to be engaging. But when you're doing more of a TV show or a virtual event, there's got to be a lot of different things happening, because our attention span is like a donut, right? Like we don't have
exactly.
Or you see a donut. Somebody talked about squirrel.
Exactly, Charlie.
So, a couple of things in virtual events. I'm going to say 3 key things. Number 1, they can't be a Zoom call. If you're a speaker, a paid speaker doing an event, you need multiple cameras, because it's more interesting for the viewer. So like our event on Tuesday, we're in a studio. We've got 3 cameras. It's going in, it's going out, all of that. I would say the second thing is, if you're doing an event, use Zoom rooms. At the end of the day, people are going to learn more from each other than they are from the speaker. I'm just a facilitator. I look out here, there is way more talent in front of me than in front of you. People need to talk about sales concepts and then say, how does this apply to me with my product in my job? Otherwise, it's just like motivation. You can't put it into use. Learners only learn if they can talk about it, and particularly salespeople who like to integrate and talk and need to learn that way. So the idea of Zoom rooms and projects and, chats and polls, again, it's all of this massive involvement, and you want to use the 5 senses. Think of it that way. So we think about, what's our learner going to see, feel, hear, touch. We've sent food to people.
Oh, wow.
Events, I'm not pizza because they'll fall asleep, but but you can send food in advance. You have music as they're coming on. We have music at the breaks. Guest speakers. We did an event for a big tech company in Boston based on Gartner research, and we surprised them with Brent Adamson coming on just for them. Who's the co-author of the Challenger Sale. Gartner, and everybody's like, oh my God. So think of the element of surprise. So, all of a sudden, oh my God, who's in the studio? It's Mario Martinez. It's Viveka von Rosen.
Well, and I love you said that. I was a judge on Socio Events event hybrid game, or event hack hybrid games, and that was the one thing they said is, you know what, like, you can get a really high name, high visibility person probably cheaper than you ever could if they were coming to the live event, because you have to pay for them first class, 2 days. It's like $100,000. But now it's like, maybe you could get someone for 20 minutes to jump on Zoom for a lot, which is a lot more affordable than, a $250,000 price tag by the end of the day, right?
On an event for less than $100,000 virtually.
Do what?
Can I get you on my next virtual?
Yes.
100,000.
Maybe
Just
50.
a little less.
You know I'll be there, girl. I love that. But yeah, no, it's true. Like if they just have to go downstairs to their camera, they're a lot more likely to do it than all of that efforting.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
All right. So we only have 1 minute left. I want you to share, because there's some people who are on the call now who weren't on earlier. I want you to share again what your special giveaway is, and then any last words that you've got.
So we're doing a big event, a big live virtual event that's going to be safe because you will be in the comfort of your own home, but it'll be super interactive.
Yeah.
We've got about 50 salespeople and sales leaders from all different industries that are going to be there that you can network with. It's called Rehumanize Live. It's this Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock East Coast time. And what we're going to do, because I love Viv and love Vengreso, we're going to give away a ticket to one lucky winner. We'll draw it by noon today. Please just email me your favorite quote to Shari@ShariLevitin.com, and I will be picking a winner by noon today. That's noon Mountain Time, because I'm in Park City, or 2 East Coast time. And yeah, so that's it.
That's awesome. That is very generous of you. Thank you so much. And any last words for our folks on the call today, on the live today?
I would just say that we're all selling virtually, and my best advice is your technology will fail. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I have had some epic fails. In fact, if you want to go to my LinkedIn profile and look at the first video on there, that's my most embarrassing epic fail. But when everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. But my advice to you is technology doesn't sell things. AI doesn't sell things. You sell things. And so at the end of the day, if you have to, ditch the deck, be authentic, be yourself. And that's the key to selling.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much, Shari, for being on our call to, oop, that didn't work. Come on. There we go. Oh, never mind.
I will say that again on cue.
Andre, your technology will fail. Thank you for saving me, Andre. I want to thank you so much for being on our live today. You are a treasure. I'll pay you your 50 grand later. Thank you. Right? And thank you so much.
The whole Vengreso team. Vengreso is awesome.
Yay, Vengreso.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great